Hello and welcome to the show. I am here on Forza 6, going to be starting up again with some silly car builds. Don't worry, I'm not completely stopping the autocross. I love building the cars for the autocross. Unfortunately, reviews are not quite as good on that series. I'll probably do that one. I'll probably build a car for that probably once a week. The silly car builds, I have actually finally come up with a format that I'm happy with for this series. A kind of slight bit of challenge for it. There's a slight bit different to the way that it's worked in previous Forza games, thanks to the Caparo. Yes, the Caparo T1 is now in Forza. This is pretty much a road legal Formula 1 car, and it is ridiculously fast. The way that these silly car builds are going to work is I'm going to be trying to build cars to go quicker than the Caparo. However, they must be road legal. As you can see, the Caparo is not on full racing slick. So all the cars that I'm going to build can't run race tyres. They have to run street tyres, which is going to make it a seriously tough challenge to try and keep up with this T1. But before we get into the building, first of all, the Caparo must set a benchmark time. Our track for this is going to be the Road America West alternate circuit. I'm going to give each car 5 laps to go around here as fast as possible, starting with the bonkers T1. Now, I'm hoping this car is not going to try and kill me. It does have the track day car problem. Now, this problem is lessened in Forza 6, however, they can still be a little bit difficult to drive. The thing is, this car has a huge amount of turning grip, massive amounts of turning grip. The problem is the rear end doesn't quite have the same amount of grip, which means getting sudden oversteer is... I've tried to push a little too hard under braking. Okay, we can't quite get away. Can't quite get away with that. But yeah, the back end can and will let go quite spectacularly if you get things a little bit wrong. So I have got to be careful. Yes, this car is going to set a phenomenally tough benchmark for anything to try and beat, as you would expect from it. However, I don't think it's completely unbeatable. It's going to be very, very tough, but yeah, I'm not sure it's completely unbeatable. I don't like that corner there. Is not going to be fun. I chickened out of that. I think the Caparo probably has the grip to be flat out through there. I'm not sure it has the balance for me to be able to drive it flat out through there. Again, there we go. There goes the back end, which just completely lets go on you when you really don't want it to be. The alternate layout of Road America here is slightly different from Forza 5. This turn 1 chicane is much nicer. Even having said that, I do get a bit of a twitch on. Much nicer going through there. On 5 there was a horrible bump on the inside that, well, we saw many a car go round in a circle during Versus the Communities. It would just launch the back of the car up into the air. But that bump is no more. It's a much smoother part of the racetrack. So we're not going to have any issues with that. Other slight differences around here. There's been a slight change to this corner that we are coming up to. For the sake of this series, I'm not actually quite sure where it dirties the lap, whether you can take the normal line, but we are having to go, or I am going to be sticking to the left-hand side of those curves down there. There are some nasty, great big sausage curves on the inside where you used to go. You used to kind of run alongside the gravel trap down there, but now you can't really do the same thing. I'm chickening out because we're going to get... Please, Caparo, stop sliding. Please stop sliding. I mean, yeah, this is a phenomenally fast car. The brakes are incredible at getting it stopped. It accelerates so quickly because we've got 570 horsepower in a car that weighs about 1,400 pounds. And that's incredible power to weight ratio. Not impossible to beat that, certainly, with some of the cars that we will be bringing out to try and challenge it. But it is a lot of power to weight ratio, and yeah, it's going to be a mighty task. It's actually faring a little bit better around here than I feared. I feared we may have a few issues with the Caparo. It's actually not. I'm not doing too badly with this car. I've had a couple of close calls with the back end letting go. I suspect also now we've got some warmer tyres as we start our third lap here. How brave dare I be up here? Just the speed you can take. And I would imagine, much like after driving a Formula 1 car or an Indy car or something, when you go back to normal vehicles, everything will feel ludicrously slow compared to this. That is kind of speed that you get from the T1. Right, let's not run wide through here this time around. That's much better. I'm still not brave enough. Oh, it was almost flat. It was almost flat. I did have a tiny, tiny lift halfway through that corner. You can do it, but if the back end lets go on you while you're doing it, you're going to have a huge off at that corner because it is so fast. And then just wait to get on the power. There's a little bit of understeer through here. Wait, now we can get on the power. And what are we going to be doing lap time-wise? A 17.1 from the Caparo. 2 laps to go. Said there wasn't a bump there. Oh, I got a wheel on the grass. Damn, I got a wheel on the grass as I went to turn in, and that dragged the car around. Yeah, this is I wouldn't say quite an uncooperative car. It's not as bad as, let's say, not the Radical, sorry. Admittedly, I didn't like the Radical particularly. It's not as bad as the Ariel Atom V8. On Forza 5, the Ariel Atom V8 was incredibly difficult to drive quickly because of this same thing. You turn into a corner, there's a huge amount of front-end grip, but the rear end does its own thing. It's not quite that bad, but it is still tough. You've got to be very, very smooth with this car. You can't do anything too crazy with it. I would imagine if I hit these curbs too hard, it would get all sorts of unhappy with me, especially if I was trying to put all of the 500 horsepower down as I bumped across the curb in such a small and light car. We're going to run wide. Okay, this lap not been so good. Can we be flat? Nope. Well, seeing as this lap was gone, I thought I'd try it. We probably have to have a little lift in the middle of the corner. I think the problem is the way that the corner kind of dips around is if you try and take it flat, it might just burst into wheel spin through the dip around, and then as the rear end wiggles, you're just going to have a big accident. So I am happy with just having to have a little lift through that corner. I think it's going to be safer, much better option to do that than have a big accident. Or you can see the way that if you upset this car in any way, shape or form, bad things will happen. And if you don't upset it though, it is mind-bendingly fast. Right, get it out of the first chicane. Can we get into the 16s with the Caparo? Quite possibly, I would imagine, if I can get a nice clean run on this particular lap. And we're braking at the foreboard down into here. We've got it stopped, get it turned, try and get on the power out the other side without spinning the wheels up too much. Just a little lift through here, and then we're going to jump on the brake. Feel the car is just on the limit of the grip. Remember, this is still on road legal tyres. We're doing all of this with a car on road legal tyres. We're going to get really close across the curve there. We're on for a really good lap if I can hold it all together in the T1. Don't get on the power too soon, otherwise the car is going to move about on you. Have a little lift through this fast corner. Oh, we're on the curve on the outside. That's the limit there. That is right on the limit of having an accident through that turn. I do not want to take that any faster than that. That was, I lost some time because I was out on the curb and very, very nearly spun the car. Around this final turn, wait to get on the power. Now I think we can go for it down towards the line. The Caparo 16.8 from the T1. I lost it. I know where I lost the time, but that's still a quick lap time. A 16.899 is the target time. The Caparo is stupidly fast, but it is a tough car to drive quickly because of that just not quite the balance in the vehicle. But there we go. A 1:16 is our target time. Will any of the silly car builds that are still road legal be able to challenge it? And our first contender is an interesting one. This certainly stands a good chance of giving the Caparo a run for its money. The mighty Jaguar XJ220. We're going to see how this vehicle fares. And as I said, I reckon could be pretty damn fast in this car. Right, to the upgrade shop. Now, the rules for this series are going to work along similar lines of the previous series I've done. The cars are not going to be tuned to keep everything completely fair, keep it completely balanced across all of the vehicles, so none of the vehicles are going to be tuned, and I'm not going to be changing the wheels on the car, simply because if we start using classic cars and I'm putting on the lightened track wheels, it looks awful on them, and I refuse to do that. So again, keep everything fair, the cars will be running on their standard wheels. But we will start with the tyres for the Jaguar. As I said, not going to be allowed to use the race compound, so we're going to have to use the sport tyres on this car. Now, this should still give it plenty of grip. It should still give it some decent grip. Just look at it. This car's got slightly less horsepower than the Caparo and is well over twice the weight. So we're going to have to try and get the weight down. But we will get plenty of power in the Jaguar. Tyre size-wise, 355s on the rear. They're some of the biggest tyres you can get. I think the F40 is the only car, or maybe the Hennessy Venom, I think. The F40 gets 375s on the rear. The Venom gets ridiculous tyres as well. But that's some big tyres on the Jag. And, ooh, that's good news. That's very good news. 305s on the front. We should have a lot of grip in this car. That is what I like to see on the XJ220. Aero, we will be having some of you. Yep, this is going to be very important. Not worrying about straight line speed in these cars. This is all about trying to get it around that track as fast as possible. We're going to be wanting... That's peculiar. I'm sorry, I was wondering what that was. That is... It looks so weird without a wing. No, I don't like it. We're going to have, again, proper Forza race wing. We want all of the downforce that we can possibly get on the vehicle. Now, the engine-wise, do we have... I thought we might have... Thought we might have this one. I was kind of hoping we would. The 6-litre V12. I was surprised actually to see the V8 there as an option. Yeah, the 6-litre V12. This is a Ferrari Enzo engine. It is one of the most powerful engines you can get in the game. And while the standard Jaguar engine is great, I want a near enough a 1,200 horsepower Ferrari V12, as we're going to need all the power that we can get to try and keep the power to weight ratio around that of the Caparo. So twin turbos, yes please, I will have them. And I will be keeping this car here rear-wheel drive. Now, the rest of the parts we will be sticking in the car. We're going to want to get it... Well, there's not very much we can do. I'm hoping we can get it down to a half-decent weight. We can probably get it maybe about 2,800 pounds-ish is what I kind of expect to be seeing from the Jag, and that's okay. Sometimes having just that little bit more weight, we can get that little bit more stability in the car. It can deal with having these ridiculous amounts of power that little bit better. So not necessarily a bad thing. Around that 2,800 pound mark is probably not going to be too bad. I mean, if you start putting 1,000 horsepowers in a Lotus 11, that's when it all goes wrong, and the car's undrivable. I think it was A-Class. We've tried to build Lotus 11s to A-Class for various sort of versus the community races. They just don't work because they are far too powerful with far too little in the way of weight. I did a pretty good guess, actually, on the weight front for the Jaguar. Yeah, 2,855 pounds on that one. And when we start fiddling around with the engine parts, we'll probably get it down some. Now, PI-wise, I mean, the Caparo is a ridiculously high PI car. It's into P-Class. Now, getting normal supercars into P-Class is quite bloody difficult. So, yeah, I mean, we're perhaps going to be slightly down on PI. I'm hoping, though, that some of these cars here will be easier to drive. I'm hoping they'll be nicer to drive. We are, yeah, I mean, this is a fairly sensible challenger to the Caparo, in all honesty. More power in the car. We're not quite going to get it into... Yeah, we're not going to get it into P-Class, as we have almost got it down to 2,800 pounds, and then we're going to... whack it all the way back up with an intercooler, but that gives us a fair amount more horsepower, so we will be going with that one, and then we will stick a flywheel on at the end. So we have got, well, pretty much double the power of the Caparo, double the weight, yeah, just about double the weight of the Caparo as well. Question is, will the Jaguar be able to go around a lap anywhere near the speed that the T1 did? Right, we are here on the grid with the Jaguar. I'm hoping it's going to be nice and relatively easy to drive. I'm not so sure about that one. But yeah, let's see how we fare. I think perhaps the big difference we will notice in between the race tyres and the street tyres is probably not when it comes to the kind of the traction out of the corners. I think it's more going to be under braking. We're going to notice we just can't quite brake as late as we could. Holy crap, this thing is fast. Oh, we're not stopping. We're never going to stop. Okay, we do about 200 miles an hour before we... That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous speed from the Jaguar, and we are never ever stopping. So we've got an awful lot. I mean, the Caparo is very, very quick at a straight line, don't get me wrong, but it's not quite 200 and whatever miles an hour that the Jaguar is. However, we can't stop the Jaguar at all. So we've got to kind of make up as much time as we can in these straight bits in the Jag, and yeah, we will be losing time as we go through these corners. We're definitely not taking that flat out. I can tell you that much. The Jaguar is not going to be able to do it, but we will have to be careful with this car. I mean, this is what you expect from a near enough 1,200 horsepower car. You know, it's not going to be an easy vehicle to drive around here. We just do not have the grip at all. Okay, we cannot carry that speed. The understeer through that turn. I may have been spoilt by driving a T1 before driving this. That is something that we are going to have to try and get used to. Right, brake before that board. Brake before the gantry and get the car slowed down. Now we fire it out the other side. Yeah, I mean, there's no problems with traction at all in here. Absolutely none as we fire our way down here. This is ridiculous. Again, we're at 200 miles an hour. The second we hit 200, I'm jumping on the brakes. Try, get it stopped. We did better. Jeez, we had to brake before the kink. That is how fast the Jaguar is. I've never had a car that I had to brake before that sort of kink on the straight. Never had to brake so early for that corner. But the Jaguar can get going so quickly. That's a ridiculous amount of speed in this car, but then we've got to wait to get on the power. Now we can unleash all of the horsepower, and then on the brakes again. On the brakes again, and then we're going to run wide anyway. Trying to unleash this power is very, very difficult. It's unleashed a little bit there, and we go back on the brakes. And then wait for it. Now we can unleash all of the speed and the noise in the Jaguar, and then panic and brake. It is just a complete point and squirt car. This one, there's no corner speed in it, and I think where we're going to get killed is this final turn. This is where we lose the time. I mean, it wasn't flat out in the Caparo, but it wasn't very far off being flat out in this. It's really minimum throttle through there, and now we fire it towards the line. At 22.9, you know, with a better lap, we might not be more than a couple of seconds away from the T1, but it's just there's no cornering grip with this car. Oh, okay, so brake here. Maybe this is going to work at getting the car. I might have braked a little bit too soon now. That is such a hard one to judge the braking for, because you brake at such a weird point. Yeah, I'm well down on the time. Because you brake at such a weird point. You're not used to having to brake there. You never brake at that part of the track normally, not with any race cars I've ever driven, or any cars I've ever driven around here particularly. You just don't brake that early. You don't need to. But in this, there is no choice in the matter. You have to stop before you make the corner, otherwise you are going off into the sand at the end of the straight. Now, how brave can I be through? I just can't get that. The front just does not turn into the corners at all. The back end is quite well planted. It's always complete opposite in this. We're not stopping. Oopsie, I mean, press that button. It's literally, the Jaguar is a complete opposite to the Caparo. I just cannot get the front end to turn in. I thought we might fare relatively well in this car, in all honesty, with some decent front tyres, decent size front tyres. You just can't turn it in. It's just understeer. I tried to get on the power out on the grass already. Okay, well, we're going to have one more lap after this one here. It's going to be sort of my final exploratory lap around this track before I will have to go for it on that last one. Can we decide where is needing to be braked for this next corner? That was terribly phrased, but never mind. Here, let's go for that bit. That seemed pretty good, actually. That was pretty good. We got it. Look at that. I found an apex. I actually found an apex in the crazy, crazy Jaguar. God damn, it's a shame I ended up on the grass coming out of that final turn and ruined the start of this lap. Right, be neat and try and be patient. I wasn't doing a very good job of being patient there whatsoever, but never mind. Now we're sliding the back of the car ever so slightly. Now we're spinning the wheels up. Yeah, patience has gone out the window on this one. Now, how fast can we actually go through this corner? In all honesty, I'm not sure all of the power is particularly helping at this part. I mean, that's okay through there, but we just don't have the front end to get this car into the corners. Again, I mean, we've got it stopped better down that part of the track this time around, and now we have to sit and wait and wait and wait for maybe to get the car out of the corner. Come on, Jaguar. I mean, I'd rather this than a huge amount of oversteer, but still, it is very, very difficult to get the front end of this car to turn into, well, just about anywhere. Okay, I thought I might be able to find some more time. I'm not sure that I can. Maybe I might be able to get it in towards the 120s on a really, really good lap. If I can spot the braking right down here, which I'm not sure I've quite done. No, that seemed pretty good. Now we might maybe be able to find a second up in the air, actually down slightly. Which is a little disappointing. I might be able to find some time, though, through the rest of this lap. It's just the understeer, trying to get the car turned into these corners, absolutely killing the Jag. I mean, I've had cars with you know, less grade tyres, if you like, that turn into the corners better than this. We just can't do it. Come on, Jaguar. Come on, we can make it. I wasn't expecting massive amounts of understeer from the XJ, I'll be honest. Not with this much power. I thought oversteer would be more of an issue. It's just simply not. God, I was pushing that under brakes. I did get it stopped. We are on for a good lap. It's not going to be amazing, but it's better if I don't understeer one. Turn in! Please turn in, Jaguar. Please get turned. Please get turned. Now we can unleash you towards the line if we don't end up out too wide. And then we're going to have to jump on the brakes. I couldn't go any quicker. At 22.1. That was I thought my 22 was a low 22. Okay, we are quite a long way off the caparo. Some 6 seconds behind the T1 there. The understeer in the Jaguar is just immense. I thought we were going to have a lot more in the way of oversteer issues, but around here, yeah, I mean, sure, you know, with this much power, if you're an idiot with the throttle, there we go, you'll spin the wheels up, you know, that's not a problem. But on the most part, out of these corners, you know, even with these tyres, we're fine. We're fine with oversteer. That's a non-issue really. With the Jag, the issue is that I just cannot get it turned in that final corner. The understeer absolutely kills it. I don't know how much time I lose around that final corner, but I imagine it is a large amount of time. Yes, we are ludicrously fast down that first straight, but yeah, trying to get it turned around that final corner, very, very tough for the Jaguar. Yeah, the Caparo's benchmark is going to be a mighty challenge for these cars to try and beat, and the Jaguar fails by a fair margin. However, I'm sure there will be plenty of vehicles that are going to put up a serious fight. That is it, though, for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.